In this unit, we're going to cover deceptive trade practices. We're going to talk about lemon law, documentary fees that you can charge your customers, advertising regulations. We'll talk about exporting motor vehicles and how to find state laws. First, I want to talk about the Deceptive Trade Practices Act. The Texas Attorney General is not only the chief law enforcement office in the state, the Attorney General's office also protects consumers from scams and fraudulent business practices. The main tool that the Attorney General's office uses to protect Texas consumers is what's known as the Deceptive Trade Practices Act. This law lists many practices that are false, deceptive, or misleading. When someone falls victim to illegal practices that are covered by the Deceptive Trade Practices Act, they may have the right to sue for damages under the Act. If they win the lawsuit and prove that the dealer knowingly deceived them, they may be eligible to recover up to 3 times the damages. You must operate ethically and give full disclosure of any vehicle defects that you're aware of in writing, or your customers could have financial recourse against you. If you're aware of a mechanical defect, it is absolutely crucial that you disclose that information in writing, because if you ever gain a commission under fraud, that could fall under the Deceptive Trade Practices Act. And like I said, the customer may be eligible to recover up to 3 times the damages. So ethical operations is a very important component of your new business. The lemon law. Right now, I want you to be aware, you're going to get so tired of your customers quoting their vast encyclopedic knowledge of the lemon law. You'll have somebody that comes in with a vehicle they purchased from you 3 years ago telling you that you've got to replace the transmission under the lemon law. No, the lemon law only applies to new vehicles purchased from franchise dealers or leased from franchise dealers. There is no lemon law relief for used motor vehicles purchased if they have no remaining factory warranty. The lemon law requires manufacturers to notify buyers of their right to compensation if a vehicle is defective. It requires auto manufacturers to repair or replace lemon vehicles within a reasonable period of time. The lemon law generally does not involve the used motor vehicle. It's usually related to new motor vehicles purchased directly from a franchisee. If you do purchase a motor vehicle to resell and later discover that vehicle was part of a buyback program and the vehicle still has remaining warranty, you could have recourse with the manufacturer, however. You will have customers enter your dealership and demand that you make major repairs to a vehicle they purchased from you some time ago because of the lemon law. Just be sure to direct them to the manufacturer of that vehicle. Documentary fees. I want you to be aware and have an overview of documentary fees. But, you are getting ready to start what I believe can be a very profitable business. And, the majority of your profit will be from the markup of the vehicle. So let's say you buy a car at a dealer auction for, let's just say $2,000, and you sell it on the lot for $4,995. Well, you just made a nearly $3,000 profit on your vehicle. But a dealer selling motor vehicles can also charge a fee for the preparation of documents related to the sale, which is called a documentary fee. These fees are regulated by the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. And there are 2 different documentary fees that are allowed under state law, $150 or less. A dealer is not required to provide notification or cost analysis to the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner before charging a documentary fee of $150 or less. Over $150. Before charging a documentary fee that is greater than $150, a dealer must provide both notification and a cost analysis to the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. So, if you're charging a documentary fee of $150 or less, you're not required to notify the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. We'll call them the OCCC from here on out. If you plan on charging more than $150, you must provide written notification to the OCCC stating the amount and the reason for the amount. The OCCC only accepts documentary fee filings through the OCCC's Application Licensing Examination Compliance System. So remember, that's the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner's Application Licensing Examination Compliance System. Did you get all that? We call that ALECS. It's ALECS, which we actually discussed just a little bit earlier in the course. If you plan on charging more than $150 documentary fee, you will need to go to the ALEX website. And remember, ALEX stands for Application Licensing Examination Compliance System. And remember, the OCCC's website is normally occ.texas.gov, but when you're filing any type of documentary fee notifications, we will instead go to alecs.occc.texas.gov. That you'll see that in your manual. Okay. As with any secure website, you are going to need to first register. And over to the right of the screen, you're going to click on Create Online Account. And as a reminder, be sure to always save a copy of your usernames and passwords for all the websites that you're creating any type of accounts to with your new business. Once you've created your username and password, you will just enter your name and password and easily be able to log into the ALEX system with your username and password. And the first thing you'll want to do is over here to the left, click on Manage My Business. And then over to the right, you're going to click on Doc Fee Filing. And on this page, you're going to enter your new documentary fee and your contact information. And then finally, on the next page, you want to make sure all the information is correct. Be sure to clearly describe that you will be charging higher documentary fees in the comments section and why. You can also upload any additional documents, and this automated system will easily walk you through the next required steps. You're allowed to charge this documentary fee to cover the costs of completing all the necessary paperwork that is involved in a motor vehicle transaction. It is very important to note that a Texas dealership is not required to charge a documentary fee, and you may never call the documentary fee a government fee. I want to repeat that very important statement. You're never required to charge a documentary fee, and you may not call the documentary fee a government fee. But if you have any questions, you'll see the OCCC phone number in your manual there. It's 800-538-1579. Remember, if you're charging a higher documentary fee than $150, you must be regulated by the OCCC. Next, I want to cover advertising regulations. The following advertisement regulations apply whether you are advertising in print, radio, television, display, all forms of internet advertising, and any other type of ad medium. Advertisements by dealers must be accurate, clear, and conspicuous. One point to always remember is that once you have your Texas dealer's license, you will no longer be advertising vehicles by owner. You're not going to be an owner anymore. You're going to be a dealer, so you will need to advertise as a dealer. The Texas Department of Motor Vehicles has several rules and guidelines when it comes to dealer advertising. The advertising rules that we are getting ready to cover are located in Title 43 of the Texas Administrative Code in Chapter 215, Subchapter H. And I'm going to show you how to look up state laws here in just a few moments. In order to advertise a used motor vehicle, the title of the vehicle must be assigned to the dealer, and the vehicle must be in possession of the dealer at the time that the advertisement is placed. Your advertisements may never be false, deceptive, or misleading. Any photograph of a vehicle being advertised must be substantially the same as the vehicle to be sold. I want to cover some prohibited advertising practices such as untrue claims. The following words and phrases are prohibited in dealer advertisements. Statements such as write your own deal, name your own price, name your own monthly payments, or statements with similar meaning are prohibited. Statements such as everyone financed, no credit rejected, we finance anyone, and other statements that no applicant will be refused are not allowed as well. All applications accepted or no credit application refused. You can't say words like that. You can state, however, financing available or conditional offer of credit. They are acceptable. But always remember, you can never say anything like no credit rejected or we finance anyone. You can't say anything like that. You can also never state that no other dealer can give you more for your trade unless the dealer can prove such statements, which is very difficult to prove. Stating that you can sell vehicles at lower prices than other dealers because of your size or inventory may never be used. The advertised price must include all costs and charges for the vehicle advertised, including destination and dealer preparation charges. The only charges that are not required to be included in the advertised price would be tax, title license, and any other fees that are allowed by law, such as documentary fees or state inspections. Here are some more prohibited advertising practices. The following statements are never allowed in any dealer advertising. Internet pricing, the term internet price or e-price, or similar terms that lead a buyer to believe they're paying a different price for a vehicle sold online are never allowed. Advertising vehicles at cost. You may never advertise that you will be selling vehicles at cost because of the difficulty in determining what the actual dealer cost would be. You may also never use the term invoice or invoice pricing in any advertisement. Trade-in guarantees. You may never advertise a guaranteed trade-in allowance. You may also never advertise that you will give a certain amount over Blue Book, Black Book, or other pricing guides. Advertising free items. You may never advertise free items unless the items are free for everyone, regardless if they're a customer. So, for example, if you advertise free hot dogs on a radio ad and a person comes in requesting a free hot dog, you could not tell the customer they must take a test drive in order to receive the free hot dog. Free items that you advertise are free to everyone, regardless if they are a customer or not. Going out of business sales. You may never run a going out of business sale or closeout sale or shutting doors forever or liquidation sale or bankruptcy sale or some other similar phrase indicating a dealership is closing its operations or any other similarly worded advertisement unless you are in fact going out of business. So, don't ever run a going out of business sale. In fact, unless you are going to close. I hope that's a sale that you never run. Lowest price guarantees. Claiming to offer the lowest prices guaranteed or other similar worded advertisements may not be used. A dealer may offer a meet or beat guarantee if all the terms of the guarantee are actually in writing. So do please keep that in mind. Used vehicles. When a used vehicle is advertised, the vehicle must be identified as used or pre-owned. I want to repeat that. When a used vehicle is advertised, the vehicle must be identified as used or pre-owned. A used vehicle must not be advertised in any manner that creates the impression that it is a new vehicle. Terms such as program car, special purchase, factory repurchase, or other similar terms cannot be used to identify a vehicle as used. So since you're probably going to be selling used motor vehicles, every one of your ads must disclose the words used or pre-owned. Bait advertising, which is sometimes referred to as bait and switch advertising. Bait and switch advertising tactics violate Texas and federal laws. Bait advertising occurs when a dealer offers goods or services for sale, but the offer is not really a bona fide offer to sell that vehicle. An offer is considered not to be in good faith if the dealer misrepresents an important aspect of the vehicle or possibly secures the first contact with the consumer through deception, or maybe a dealer discourages the sale of an advertised product in favor of a costlier vehicle, something like that, or maybe advertises a specific vehicle, sells the specific vehicle, then tries to switch future consumers to a non-advertised vehicle. Let's talk about that. Let's say, for example, you advertise a 2018 Corvette in your local newspaper, and the first person that comes in and sees it, they love it, they buy it, and then it's gone. And then the second person comes in and states they would like to see the Corvette they saw in the paper. I would always recommend saying something like, I'm sorry, we sold the Corvette you saw in the paper. I will call you when we get another one just like it, and leave it at that. What you never ever want to say is, hey, we sold that Corvette you saw in the paper, but you've got to come over here and take a look at this Nissan Z we got in a couple of days ago. What you did in that scenario is you baited the customer in off of an ad, then switched the customer to something that was not in the ad, which is a violation of state and federal advertising guidelines. You may never bait and switch. The advertising methods discussed apply to all forms of media, including print advertising, television advertising, radio advertising, billboard advertising, and all forms of internet advertising, including but not limited to Craigslist, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or your own dealership's website. And by the way, there is a reason that every other ad on the radio, TV, and newspaper is a dealer ad, because advertising has proven to lead to an increase in foot traffic in your dealership. So you might want to consider this when you get your dealer's license. Advertising can definitely lead to you selling more vehicles on the lot. Let's talk about exporting vehicles. I want to cover exports with you. And, maybe you are going to start that dealership on that intersection or that highway and only sell vehicles to people passing by or to persons that see your local advertising. Well, that is great. And that's obviously the very foundation of our industry. But you never have to limit yourself to selling locally because the world is your market. There's a great need for motor vehicles throughout the world, and you will be able to seize this opportunity by exporting motor vehicles to other countries. But the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles has strict guidelines to follow when you're exporting vehicles to other countries. Texas law requires any dealer that is exporting a vehicle to comply with Texas motor vehicle export procedures. Any dealer who sells motor vehicles to foreign buyers are required to verify the identity of the buyer, and you'll also be required to stamp the title showing the vehicle as an exported vehicle. And this rule was passed at the request of other licensed dealers. And it's designed to give the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles one more tool to reduce curb stoning. And the rule is known as the foreign buyer rule, and it's directed at those foreign dealers and buyers who buy vehicles in the state of Texas on the pretext of exporting to Mexico and other countries, but instead illegally sell the vehicles on this side of the border in unfair competition with Texas dealers. So many of those dealers, along with a group of tax assessor collectors along the border, proposed the procedure to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicle staff and then wrote the rule and presented it to the Motor Vehicle Board. The rule was worded to apply to sales to any person claiming to buy vehicles for exporting. So I'm going to show you here in just a moment. When you're exporting a vehicle, you must complete Form 14-312, and it's a motor vehicle sales tax exemption certificate for any vehicle that is actually taken out of the state, including being exported to another country. Here's an example of a completed Form 14-312. You'll want to make sure that you enter the purchaser's contact information, the vehicle information, your dealership information. The purchaser must sign this form. So it's recommended that you send this document to the person that is buying the vehicle, have the buyer sign the document, then mail it back to you before you ship the vehicle to the other country. The rule also requires dealers to do two things. First of all, you have to verify the identity of the buyer, and then you'll stamp the title with the words "for export only," and also you want to make sure that you have your general distinguishing number there. A dealer should obtain a copy of the driver's license, passport, or some other type of photograph ID of the purchaser that's in the other country. And these copies will always need to be kept in dealer records. As a reminder, you're going to make 2 copies of everything. 1 copy goes into your records, and you should always give copies of everything to the customer as well. So you will need to obtain a for export stamp if you are going to be exporting vehicles to other countries. The for export stamp should be placed on the front of the title. You want to make sure that you don't cover any important information on the front of the title as well. And also on the back, you want to make sure that you put the for export stamp only on each blank reassignment on the back of the title. And like I said, the state wants to make sure that that stamp also has your dealer number. That sometimes we call that your P number on it as well. And here you see an example where the back of the title has been stamped for export only as well. So dealers must also notify the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles whenever a vehicle is sold to a person in another country. And you must check the vehicle for export box when you order a buyer's e-tag through the e-tag system that we talked about here a little bit earlier. But if you do have any questions about exporting, be sure and contact the Department of Motor Vehicles before you would export a vehicle so you can always maintain your compliance. Before we then end this unit, I want to talk to you about how to find state laws. That way, if you ever have a question about what exactly is written in state law, you will easily be able to do that. The state of Texas has many different sets of laws that you can search for in Texas statutes, the Texas Occupational Code. Many of the laws for dealers in the state of Texas are written into the Texas Administrative Code, which we sometimes refer to as the TAC. So for this example, let's search for the Texas Administrative Code, or TAC. You can just go to Google or whatever your favorite search engine is and type in Texas Administrative Code, And here on this example, you'll see a direct link to the Secretary of State's website. You could see a different website, so the Attorney General, something like that. But you'll just click that link, and now you're on the Secretary of State's website, or you might land on another website with a direct link to the Texas Administrative Code, okay? So you'll click on that link, and now you're going to be on the search section of the Texas Administrative Code. So let's go ahead and search for motor vehicle dealer, and you're going to find all codes that contain the phrase motor vehicle dealer. And as you can see here, TAC 215.133 has lots of information about general distinguishing numbers. TAC 215.137 has information about dealer surety bonds. You can hit the next button to see even more codes that contain the text motor vehicle dealer. As you can see, there are several other TAC numbers that describe the operation of a motor vehicle dealership in law. Let's go ahead and click on TAC 215.139 concerning metal dealer license plate allocation. So you just click on that link, and now you can easily read the Texas Administrative Code that regulates metal dealer license plate allocations. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, the word motor vehicle dealer is highlighted to show your search term. And at the top right of the screen, you can click on the next link to see the next TAC number. So, the state of Texas makes it really, really easy to read the laws that regulate licensed motor vehicle dealers. So great. Hey, we finished this unit. And in this unit, we have covered Deceptive Trade Practices Act, limit law, documentary fees, advertising regulations, exporting motor vehicles, and I just showed you how to find state laws. Always remember, if you want to review any portion of this unit or any other unit, just go to texasdealers.com and scroll down and click on the Texas Dealer videos.